All right, we're back now, and what we're going to do here is we're going to basically, we're going to be using these, which is the Folgers coffee cans, right? Or not the coffee cans, but what the coffee comes in. This is going to be our hydroponics container. This is what we're going to, in the next clip, we'll we'll drill the hole out for right here, the 3-inch hole for the net pot to sit in, and this is basically going to be the container that your roots are going to be contained in, okay? Right now what we're going to do though is we're going to drill out the hole for the drain that's going to go back down to the sump. So move in a little bit closer here, Shannon, so everybody can see what we're doing. So basically we're just going to cut, and this is just for instructional purposes, right? So we're going to cut just a section off. Now, however you have yours set up at your house may differ a little bit as far as the length of your nipple that's going to come out of the bottom of your container. So you're going to need a heat gun for this. If you don't have a heat gun, you can use a hair dryer. This is really thin plastic, and basically all you're wanting to do is you're going to want to heat this up just enough to be able to get this to pop through. The concept is that this is going to be a cheap way to do this. The other way is to use the rubber grommets that hopefully I'll have in the mail. Should be getting in the mail sometime soon, and I'll show you how to do that with the rubber grommets as well. But this is just this will work for a cheap version. And if you want to go with the couplings, then you'll need a 1/2 inch. This that's on the drill here is a 7/8 inch, which is right at or just a little bit under the total diameter, outside diameter of this 1/2 inch piece of pipe. Okay, just a little bit under. So this should work out just fine. And look, this doesn't have to be a tight seal, because all of this, the water that's in here is going to be draining. It's going to be draining down into your drain pipe, which is going to be going back to your sump. So, and as long as trust me, it'll work. Okay, so I already got the hole started. And okay, another thing, make sure that you're running your hole saw. And once you get the center hole punched, reverse your drill and run it in reverse. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep from tearing a big hole. Get a close up here. That's going to keep from tearing a big hole in the bottom of your container. Okay, so you have to run it in reverse, otherwise it's really going to wallow it out, because these teeth are super sharp, especially on these Linux tools. These are really good tools, and these teeth are super sharp. So once you get the hole punch, run it in reverse. Okay. It also, running it in reverse, it also keeps the hole a lot more clean. Can you see that? Okay. So, well, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. That's actually a smooth hole through. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, sometimes everything don't work out like we want it to. Round 2 coming up. Push the button. All right, y'all. So obviously that didn't work, and guess what? A lot of times things don't work out. This was an idea I had. I haven't seen this done before. So the 1/2 inch. Obviously that thing just went smooth through. No big deal. This is a 1-inch hole saw, okay? No, it's a hole saw. I don't know. Anyway, you see what it is. All right, so this is a 1/2 inch coupling. Now I know for a fact that the outside diameter of this is this is 1 inch OD, and this is just a little bit over. So I think this is like 1 1/8 inches, which would leave a 1/2 inch. I'm sorry, not a 1/2 inch, 1/16 of an inch overlay on either side of this hole, right? But we're not gonna drill this hole again because, hey, this is already done. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a coupling instead of the 1/2-inch pipe. The theory now is that we use a heat gun to heat up this plastic, and then if it works right, we should be able to just pop this daggum 1/2-inch coupling right in there. So hey, this is experimental. Never done this before. Now you want to make sure not to heat up the plastic too much, because if you do, you'll literally melt it, and you should start to see this plastic starting to warp a little bit. Okay, see it moving a little bit? It's actually going down. Okay? And that's what we want. We want it to move just a little bit. We want it to get flexible. Okay, that should be enough. Now we're just gonna take and pop that in there just like so.
It worked.
Okay?
All right, baby.
And that should be it right there. Now this is gonna contract. Whenever this cools, this is going to contract. And if you wanted to, if it was bothering you real bad, you could take and run a bead of silicone around there once this gets good and cool. Or you could run a bead of silicone around on the inside, but it's really not necessary, because again, you're going to have this pipe right here. Once this gets cool, you're gonna run your nipple, your 1/2-inch nipple inside your coupling, and this is going to go into your drain pipe, which is going to return back to your sump. Okay, so that's how that goes, y'all. And I don't think, with that just being done like that, I don't think that you need to use the 1-inch hole saw. I think you need to go with the 7/8 inch, because that opened that up just right for me to be able to get that coupling in there. And another thing that I noticed whenever I did this is that there is a little, on one side of that coupling is not smooth. It's got a little burr that's part of the process, I guess, whenever they make it. Now look, that's actually tightened up, and I can move this if I really wanted to, but it's pretty tight. It's holding in there pretty good. And you can probably see light through there on either side.
Yep.
Okay, that's okay, like I said, because that's just gonna drip. That water is just gonna drip off of this and right onto the outside of your 1/2-inch pipe, right down into your 1.5-inch drain tube, which is gonna go back to your sump. Because you're gonna have a dozen or so of these, however many you have space for. You're gonna have quite a few of these sitting, in a row, going on a shelf or whatever that you have. Okay, got it? Good. On to the next clip. Okay, y'all. So as you can see, we've got all of our containers drilled for the downspouts. Okay. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna drill the lids for the 3-inch net pots. Now these are my old net pots. I still got to do a little bit of cleaning up on them and stuff like that, but I didn't have any disease or anything like that out of these old net pots. It's recommended that you do all this bathing and bleach and all this other kind of stuff. I don't know. I've never had any problems. I just usually spray mine off with the water hose and try and get the majority of the dead stuff off, and keep on rocking it out. Now, if you have something that has a root disease or something like that, obviously you would want to take extra precautions on reusing those net pots, but this is basically a 3-inch net pot, right? And the outside diameter of your 3-inch hole saw is just about an 1/8 on either side, okay? Which is going to give you a lip whenever you drill this out. So let me show y'all how to do that. Again, it's the same process as whenever you're drilling the, what was that? The 7/8 hole for the downspouts. same process. So you're gonna drill a hole. You're gonna tap it with your drill, and then you're gonna switch your driver into reverse, and then cut your hole in reverse to keep from burning up your hole really bad. So this is how you do it. There's a little dimple in all of these lids right here, which gives you the center mark. It's pretty handy. All right, so we just broke through. I'm gonna switch it in reverse. And that's all there is to it. Now your net pot sits right in there just like that. Easy peasy. Now, I'll get to what you're gonna put in your net pot and then, you know, one of the following clips, but that's all there is to it. And this is going to be, well, this is one of the shorty shorts that I recycled from work, but you can see that net pot does not push through, no matter how hard I push on it. Now you don't have to heat this like you did for this, for your 1/2-inch coupling to fit into, okay? As soon as you drill that 3-inch hole with the 3-inch hole saw, it's done. That's all there is to it, okay? See y'all on the next clip. What's going on, everybody? So what I've done is, you can see that I painted my coffee cans white, or blue rather, and the lid's white. The reason that I've done this is that during the summertime down here, and I'm sure a lot of places in the United States, it gets hot, and you want to try and deflect as much of that heat off your plants as possible. Now we are going to be growing cabbages in this hydroponic system, so once these cabbages leaf out, they're really going to cover the tops and the sides of these cans anyway, so they're going to create their own shade, and that's good. But if you were growing tomatoes or something like that in your system, well, your tomatoes are not gonna cover and shade out your pot as much as, say, a cabbage will, okay? So also I wanted to show y'all with this one. This is one that I had an issue with, and I ended up I did have to silicone this one in, because the weld, whenever they manufactured this, the weld was really thin, so whenever I heated it up, it basically stretched that weld and made the coupling extremely loose in there, even though it sealed up on it. It was still real loose. So I went ahead and siliconed that up, and that was really just to keep it from falling out. So these will sit up there just like that, and your nipple will come out, and I'll show you all the rest of that, but I wanted to show you how I'm painting these. So basically with the lid, I just put the lid on a flat surface and painted the lid, you know, like you would paint something. But for these, I wanted to be able to get all around them and stuff. So what I did was I took and I hung a string right here, and then just tied a little piece of twig that came off the ground, a little piece of oak limb, and basically created a T. So you stick it through there, and it just hangs on that rope like that, and then I just spin it around and paint it. So it's pretty simple. And I went with a Satin Lagoon blue. Pretty cool looking color, blue to me it is anyway. Try and stay out of the fog, or take a deep breath. all there is to it. See y'all on the next clip. All right, y'all, so we're back again. We're here at the hydroponic shelf, and this, I think this is 1.5 inch pipe. Might be 2 inch. Let's see. Yeah, it's 2 inch PVC. So this is what we're going to be using for the drain to go back for our hydroponic system. Okay. Yes, it is tilted down, but what we're going to do is we're going to raise it up just a little bit, where it'll have just about that much fall for it. Okay. And there's going to be holes. There's going to be holes drilled in this every foot. So we're going to have a foot spacing in between each one of these containers that are going to be sitting up on top of this shelf. And that little half inch downspout that's in the bottom of the coffee can is going to go right down, and you'll see it'll be a 45, not a 45. Yeah, it'll be a 45 down, out, and a 45 back down into the 2 inch drain. Okay, so I'm gonna go find some more parts and everything and get all the holes drilled, and I'll be back. Okay, so what I've done here is I've got my 10-foot section of pipe, and my first hole is going to be at 6 inches, and every hole after that is going to be at 12 inches. So there's going to be 1 foot spacing in between. Okay, so at 6 inches, 1 inch hole saw. The pipe that's going in is 1/2 inch pipe, so this 1 inch hole is going to give us plenty of wiggle room to be able to get those downspouts into the hole. I'll come back and clean up all of these holes after I'm done drilling. Get a couple of these, and then you gotta clean this thing out. So oh, and you can't run this in reverse whenever you're cutting PVC pipe. It doesn't work that way. You actually have to run it in forward for those teeth to cut through. So get this done, come back to you in the next one. I'm like that. So anyway, hole. Oh, make sure that this lid is thin plastic. Make sure you're running your drill in forward to get the drill through. But as soon as you puncture this hole right here, the drill hole, stop it and put it in reverse, because these teeth, if you don't, it's going to tear that plastic up, and it's going to make a hole that's bigger and nastier than you want. And running it in reverse will keep the hole clean, so you don't have to do a lot of cleanup. Okay. Now, if you're drilling Schedule 40 PVC or Class 200 PVC, you're going to have to run it in forward the whole time, because those teeth need to actually cut. Okay. We're going to burn it in reverse. Same principle that we used for the containers that we're going to be putting the cabbages in. Okay. And we're through. Just that simple. See how clean the hole is? No burrs. Not on the inside or the out. Works good. I am going to spray this container out before I use it, because we had baby chicks in it. All right, so we'll get everything set up for the next round. Okay, y'all, so we got everything dry fit now. I also want to tell y'all that whenever you're doing this type of system, your return lines, they don't have to be glued unless this is going to be an extremely permanent situation, because these return lines are not pressurized. So if you get them good and snug, and even take like a rubber mallet or something like that, or heck, even the back of your cutters, you know, your PVC cutters, and you just tap on your connections to snug them up and get them pretty tight, you don't really have to worry about leaks because it's not pressurized. And if you decide that you want to break the system down for winter, or your wife gets upset with you and she don't like the way it looks, whatever the case may be, then you know you don't have to go about cutting everything up, and you can reuse your fittings and everything like that. So let me back y'all up just a second so you can see. So basically, now look, if y'all are going to do something like this, this system, I'm not going to give you any of the measurements that I'm using for this pipe and everything, because your situation is going to be different than mine whenever you set up a system like this. So you'll have to make your own measurements and things like that. I'm only showing you how to do this in a rough way, okay? Because this is for me, and what's going to work for you is going to be completely different, I guarantee it. So that's a 7.5 inch section right there. That's a 17. I'm sorry. That's a 17. That's an 18-inch section, and then that's another foot-long section going down into the sump. And I also set the sump. I set that height on the. I set that height going in here to where it's just about 3 inches below the lid of the sump, and that's because I want that water to be hitting the surface of the water. I don't want it to be going down all the way to the bottom, because I want it to be able to create oxygen whenever it's back feeding back into the sump. Okay, so now we'll get on to the next part, and that's going to be setting up the buckets and getting the net pots with the substrate that I'm going to use. I'm using the Hydroponics. I had ordered a 50-pound sack of that a couple of years ago, and I used some of it in my old hydroponic system, and I still have it. You know, you can reuse it. It hadn't never broken down on me. I think that they say that it does over a period of time, but heck, man, I've had mine for a long time, and shoot, 3 or 4, maybe, no, it's been longer than that. Probably about 7 years, and I've reused mine, and it hasn't never broken down on me. So anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it, and next step is the pots and getting them set up. Okay, everybody. So what we have here is a prime example of why it's hard for me to throw things away. See, this is some tubing and stuff that I had set up at our other house, and you can see it goes over there. I already have now this was set up on, these are I think these are 2 gallon per hour drip emitters. We're just going to take these off, and trust me, I'm not going to get rid of them. I will be putting them in a bag somewhere to use at a later date. But I already have everything set up and ready to go, pretty much. Now, I got to use one of those fancy new connectors that I just bought for an end cap right there, and I'm going to have to put one down there on the other end down here. And you can see that I already have, like I said, I already have all of these tubes and the 1/4 inch tubing and everything set up. And I made a cut right, actually I disconnected something right here. This was for a 4 foot by maybe it was 3.5 foot. That don't look like 4 foot. By 12 foot grow bed that I had in our backyard that I had drip emitters going into pots. And I was amending that soil with leaf mulch, but I couldn't plant in it. I wanted it to break down over time. Life happened and life changed, and we ended up moving over here. So I already have all of this stuff. I'm going I'm just gonna, just like I said, I'm just gonna, probably not even gonna cut that end. I'll probably just put one of my fancy new end caps on there. But yeah, so the tee is right here. It's ready to go. I'm just going to get all this stuff situated up on the fence post and everything, and I'll bring y'all back whenever I got that part done, because the next part after that is just going, I'm going to take all these emitters off camera too. I mean, that's just some nitpicky stuff. It eats up too much time. So we'll see you on the next clip. So it looks like that worked out just right. Sorry for all the noise and everything. My neighbor's over here. He borrowed my lawnmower, and now he's over here weed eating my yard. We've got a really good relationship. Most all of my neighbors and us, we have a good relationship, except for one. All right, talk to y'all on the next clip. Okay, not sure if the camera's level or not. It doesn't look like it is, but y'all will be able to see what I'm doing anyway. So what I've done is I've taken the downspout out, and I've run my 1/2 inch polypropylene or polyethylene tubing, whichever one it is, I don't know. Now I've got my pump, okay? So this pump right here, I believe is a 300 gallon per hour. It says FP 300. You get them from Lowe's and your box stores, whatever. You can order them online, but I'm pretty sure that this is a it says FP 300. I'm assuming this is 300 gallon per hour, and I'm pretty sure that the head height on this is 12 feet. So this is going to give me plenty of pressure. For what I'm doing on the first scale, it might give me a little too much pressure. I might need to. I don't know. I may need to. We'll just have to see. We'll see how it goes. All right. So anyway, this wasn't too much for my fish tank that I had in there. I had a whole setup going on in there for my breeders for my tilapia, and it didn't have a whole lot of pressure. So I don't think that this is going to be too much pressure, even though it has a 10 to 12 foot head height. I think it does. It might be a 9 foot head height. I don't know. So anyway, we're going to connect this to our pump. Oh, getting the critical aspect. This isn't really necessary if your tubing is going in the right direction, but I'm pretty sure that my tubing is good. It's going to be all funkified whenever I get it put up in there. And that's not an exact tight fit either, so that's a very loose fit as a matter of fact. And I don't have the bag, the container that this pump came with, so I'm using a stainless steel, 100% stainless steel hose clamp. Clamp that on. All right. Now I got to do the other part, which is got my outdoor edge knife. I do have my EDC, but I found this in my truck on the floorboard. I've been looking for it for months, so I put it in my pocket. Those things, these outdoor edges, these are razor blades, right? This is the Onyx EDC. It actually says EDC, but these blades are interchangeable. These are really cool. Got a little button right there that you push. The blades just come out. And the blades are stupid cheap, man. They're like, I think they're like $4, $3 or $4 or whatever. But I can actually run these on my stone and put that edge back on real quick. And I have 2 packs of those. So I'm never gonna run out, I don't think. Not for a while anyway. The other good part about this, and the reason why you don't want to glue everything up, is because you're going to have to get in here to raise your lid and add nutrients into your system. Okay, so it's good to have one of these little totes. Now, if this tote's in the sun, these are not, as far as I know, they're not oh, what's it called, UV stabilized, right? So they'll break down in the sun. Anyway, excuse me, I'm gonna get this all hooked up, and we'll put some water in, some water in here, and we'll turn it on and see what we're looking like. I still got to take my drip emitters off, but we'll turn it on and see what it looks like, hopefully before the sun goes down. Okay, y'all, so I got a little bit of water in here. Got my electrical run over, and we're about to fire it up, see how much water she's pumping. I know it should be enough, but just for y'all, and I hope it's not too dark out here. Make sure none of them are pointing in my direction. All right, so she's plugged in, and I see water going through, and there we go. We have flow. Okay, see how much water's coming out? Coming out of each one of them, and it's not coming out real fast. Now we don't want it to come out real fast. Okay, can y'all see that? We don't want it shooting out. We just want it barely running out. Coming out of all of them. That's what we're looking for, right? That one's just kind of barely dripping out. This is the end one, so might take and see if that helps. No, that don't help at all. All right, I think what I'm gonna have to do to get the pressure down here is to make sure that everything's kind of level going up through. Sorry about that, y'all. Trying to get the daggum camera to work right. So I have to take the sag out of that, but that's all right. Wait on, let's see. Is it working all right? It's just barely trickling out if I raise it up, and that. Now, if I put a lower one down here, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll play with it. All right, not working. I don't know if y'all got to see that or not. Guys, I'm sorry. I've got some new camera gear coming. Should be here tomorrow, and I'll have a higher tripod, and not one that has my GoPro zip tied to it. So sorry. All right, guys. So we'll see you on the next clip. Thanks a lot for watching. All right, y'all. So today is a new day. Sun ran out on me yesterday, and we're to the next level of getting cabbages out of their containers. Now these, I grew these from seed. I can't remember. Actually, I think I can. Liz living over here. Okay, actually I can't. I don't remember what kind of cabbages that these are. So anyway, they've been recycled probably 2 years now, and they'll get recycled again. So gonna take these out, gonna wash the roots off, and then I'm going to put them into the 3-inch net pots, and we'll just show you. I guess we'll just go through it. I'm trying to make it short. I'm trying to keep these clips. Now this is a double plant, and I think I'm just going to leave it as a double. We've got a lot of root structure here, and we're just going to wash this off as best we can. And we may or we may not be able to get the to use the Hydroton, which is the clay pebbles. I'm sure that most of y'all know what Hydroton is. So it's expanded clay pebbles. Boy, these things are so root bound. I waited way too long to do this project. All right, y'all, this is gonna take some time. So whenever I get this one, all the roots and everything, and I get it repotted, I'll come back. Okay, y'all. So what we have here is a serious Carmen should have done this sooner problem. So I've got the majority of, as much as I could, of the root ball washed out without without doing too much damage to the roots, and they are just clumped up in there like it's nobody's business. These nurseries, whenever I said that I planted these from seed, and I'm pretty sure that I'm almost certain that I did. I know that I've had those cups for a long time, so but I think that the soil mixture that I use, which was the Stay Green product, which I really like, y'all. I'm not bashing them, but since I let these go so long, those roots are really holding on to the majority of that soil mixture. So the net pot's going to allow the new roots that are going to start growing to grow through and into the bucket though. The only thing that I'm concerned with is the wind blowing them around like so. So we're going to put them in the buckets, and we're going to see how that grows anyway. Hang on. So y'all saw how I did my buckets and everything like that with my downspout. 3-inch hole. This is a shorty short here, and it's going to go on the end because with the pump that we have, which I can go get another one, but I'm trying to use what I got, right? So we're just going to plop that sucker right in there just like that, And that's how that's gonna grow. Now once these plants start growing through those net pots, we're not gonna have any issues with this, because those roots that are gonna start growing down into there are going to stabilize it better inside of that net pot. Now, one of the handy things about having a pot like this to do this with is that you can actually remove this and pull these out, okay? And that's actually going to be very important, because if anybody that's ever done anything like this before knows, especially in aquaponics, is that you have to clean your downspouts out, these. So what's gonna happen is this root system is gonna get so big and so strong, if I haven't shocked the mess out of it by washing these roots off and kill it, but I don't think I have, but this root system is gonna get so big and so strong that it's gonna fill up your downspout, and it's gonna block the water flow, okay? And that happens all the time in hydroponics and aquaponics. Well, when you're doing hydroponics like this. And I know for a fact it does in aquaponics, because I had to clean my downspouts out religiously in my grow beds whenever I had it set up at the other house. So, all right, y'all, we'll get these set up and everything, and then I'll show you what it looks like whenever I get it all put back together over there. Okay. What's going on, everybody? So, I know you keep hearing that a lot in this content, but I can't help it. Every time the daggum camera comes on, I gotta say it for some reason. I guess it's my thing, right? Like, anyway, so as you can see here, it's getting dark on me yet again. I've had to make 3 trips to Lowe's this afternoon. Things don't go like you plan them all the time, and you usually never, you know, you don't ever see the pitfalls until you're in one. So I've had to redesign it. Whenever I went to Lowe's and got the parts for everything to begin with, I was gonna do these downspouts on 45s and bring them down and over and down again. Well, whenever I went to Lowe's the other day, they don't have any 1/2-inch 45s, like 0. And if I remember correctly from previous dealings with them, I don't think they've ever carried 1/2-inch 45s. If they have, they must have them stored somewhere. So I did 90s, right? I did 90s. And then I got to thinking, well, the whole premise of doing the 45s was because we wouldn't have to seal the bottom. Well, if you're doing 90s and the bottoms aren't sealed, where that coupling comes through the bottom of the pipe, it's not gonna work, Jack. Just not gonna work, because that water is just gonna seep out, and it's just gonna fall right off the end of that 90, that first bend, whenever it comes down and goes over to the downspout or the return. Yeah, I got the second one done, and I realized that was gonna be an issue. I was like, dadgummit, that's, ooh. Lowe's isn't working with my design strategies here. So backed up and punted, y'all. So what I did was I went and got these J hooks. These are 2-inch J hooks, and so now my pipe is hanging from J hooks, and I have a bit of a fall going on. I can adjust that fall if it's too much. Whenever I integrate the other side over there, you know, I can adjust my fall height. So not a big issue. There's not going to be a bunch of water running through here. There's going to be plenty of room for it all to expel back into the sump. Okay, so I got 2 of them done. All right, now I added a little bit of Hydroton. I was able to get this one, since it was a single plant, I was able to get this one rinsed out a lot better, and I used some of that Hydroton to stabilize this plant, because they're so leggy now. They've been in those little pots, they've gotten leggy, and they're wanting to fall over and stuff. So it is what it is. We'll deal with everything as it comes. But you see what's going on, you see what I got, how I'm doing this. These are just these little stakes right here. They literally go, they punch down through the net pot. These right here do. They punch down through the net pot, and that's what holds these stakes in place. So I'm gonna keep on working tonight because I can't leave these like this, or else the sun's gonna hit them tomorrow, and them suckers will be baked and they'll be done with. So I'm gonna go ahead and work through. Not gonna bring y'all along for the ride because it's gonna be dark. So see y'all on the next clip. So it's nighttime. I finally got everything done. As you can see, maybe you can hear, everything's running. I'll tell you what, let me take that light off. See the water coming out. Oh, look who decided to show up for the party. Little Miss Honeybee. Girl, go back on. You're supposed to be in bed. So everything's running like it should. Everybody's getting water. Sorry for the shaky video. Even all the way down here on the little ones. They're getting water too. All right, y'all. She decided she wanted to come hang out. So we'll see y'all on the next clip, okay? Glad I got it done. It's been a long project. Just because there's so many things going on, so many things to do. So there's quite a few of them coming out now. All right, y'all. Talk to you later.